Good morning, guys. Welcome to the intro. welcome, welcome, ooh, welcome to the intro, guys. Just getting everything started, and then we will be on in just a second. Okay. So yeah, hold on just a second. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Muhammad Rasulullah. Hayya falah, hayya salah, hayya kama, qad salah, qad salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar. Bismillah. All right. We will be on in just a second. Okay. So hold on just a second. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Muhammad Rasulullah, Hayya falah, Hayya salah, Hayya kama, qad salah, qad kama. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladina anta alayhim, ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amin. قل هو الله واحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد الله أكبر سبحان الله سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان الله أكبر الله أكبر سبحان الله أكبر بسم الله الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين إذا جاء النصر والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا أسبح بحمد ربك أستغفر إنه كان توابا الله أكبر سبحان الله سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. All right, and with that in mind, good morning to everybody across the world right now. So here we are, 11 minutes into the live stream, and we are now just beginning. So let me put this together right here. All right, so there we are, right? We just got the stream started right now. So it is the beginning of the stream, and we're going to talk about a few things in this particular live stream. And for one, it's the biggest story out right now is Charlie Kirk's conspiracies that are going on, right? Which I believe to be are complete lies. Like, for example, people are talking about how he got shot in the back rather than the front. I think this is absolute BS to the highest order. Now, why is it that people have these conspiracies going on, right? There's several reasons why. I mean, obviously, I've explained to people that when it comes to conspiracies, there's a gap that is missing when you're trying to figure out a case, when you're trying to figure out a world event, when you're trying to figure out exhibit A to exhibit B, right? These are just the natural orders of things. So what do you do in the process of trying to figure out what is going on? Well, you fill in those gaps. And what exactly are those gaps you're going to fill? Well, you're going to fill them with the most conspiratorial and the most outrageous takes ever, right? That's really just what it is. Look, I understand that people want to believe there's more to this story than it is, but I truly believe that when it comes to this story, there is only what really happened, right? And what really happened is exactly this. It's Charlie Kirk being shot in the front, and there's nothing more to it than that. If you believe anything more than that, it is because you're trying to fill in the gaps, and we're going to look into that. We're going to look into a whole lot of different stories regarding this topic. Also, it's UFC Fight Week. Obviously, it's going to be Dominic Reyes. What is this? Akira Alam says, hi. Hello, Akira Alam. Shout out to you, my man. First time that you have been here. Let me know what part of the world you are from, my man, and kudos to you. The other topic we're going to talk about 4 topics, right? Charlie Kirk's outrageous conspiracies. Indonesia. Salam alaikum to you, brother. Okay. Shout out to Alam from Indonesia. So, Charlie Kirk's outrageous stories, outrageous conspiracies, UFC Fight Week, updates on Roger Jackson's case. Also, how about this? Canelo being set up to lose by the Saudis. Guess what his next fight is? Artur Betrbiev. Jackson James Jenkins says, epic championship behind you. Yes, yes. Shout out to that. Yes. Always a good conversation starter, right? So that's one of the reasons why I sort of put the WWE belt there, and also a couple of my, trophies. This one I won in 2010, a state Muay Thai title, and then that right there is a WWE belt. It's sort of mixing the reality of fighting and then the sensational side of fighting as well, which is sort of what my channel emphasizes. Devaro says, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar to you as well, man. Takbir, Allahu Akbar. Shout out to you, Devaro. Let me know what part of the world you are from, my brother, as we continue on. Jackson asks, are you a WWE fan? You know what? That's a very good question. Jay Mara says, hey, bro. Hey, how are you? That's a very good question. What's your channel about? Well, I talk about mixed martial arts. I also talk about geopolitics. I also talk about street politics that go on in California. And I also talk about boxing. Yeah, so MMA, combat sports, geopolitics, all rolled into one. Right? I sort of found that there is, oh my God, this is like a dream channel, dude. Well, there you go, man. You are in the right place, my man. You are definitely in the right place, because that is one of the things that we emphasize here, right? We emphasize the crossover of geopolitics in comparison to, let's say, mixed martial arts, because they all tie in together, right? You often notice that when you see other ball sports, right? Basketball, baseball, football, they have this culture of separating sports and state, right? Whereas with MMA, I think that MMA in general, especially with the type of fan base that we have in MMA, I think they are extremely brilliant people in MMA, right? You could start off from Khabib all the way down to even Tim Elliott, Okay, he's, well, I don't really know if he's much of a intellectual. DJ Mighty Mouse, how about that, right? You know, a bit of an intellectual himself. Even MMA Guru, right? MMA Guru, at times you will catch him talk about the things that are going on in England, right? In a geopolitical sphere. For example, MMA Guru is MMA centric, but he's not shy in when let's say his audience asks him about, hey, what's going on in the parliament in the United Kingdom? What is going on with the riots? What is going on with Tommy Robinson? But then again, he also kind of pushes back and says, well, you know what? I don't really want to talk about this. Let's get into politics. Let's not get into politics. This is the channel for you. The things that he's not willing to talk about, I will. And the things that the other sports channels are not talk about, I will. Let's read this right here. So Jackson Jenkins says, I love MMA. Good, you're in the right place. Jay Mara says, MMA, geopolitics, gangs, what an interesting transfusion. There you go, man. You got to create something that is a little bit different from what everybody else out there puts out, right? Because what everybody puts out there is basically the same things. Most MMA channels are going to go, well, you know what? Dominic Reyes and Carlos Ulberg are fighting this weekend in Australia. All right, now what? Kicks and punches, right? They're going to talk about kicks and punches all day long. Guess what? You want to hear that? I got some credentials to prove that I know a little thing or two about kicks and punches. So we're going to get on to that subject as well. He says, damn, you know your stuff, man. Yes, thank you, my man. Yes, especially the stuff that's going on in, oh, wow, I'm from Inglewood, 77th, throw it up, blood. All right, man. Shout out to the Bloods in Inglewood, man. Shout out to all of y'all. Jackson Jenkins says, I'm from the UK. The riots are terrible. So many people are getting hurt. He also says, not really a fan of team sports. I find solo sports better. You know what? It is a lot more compelling, isn't it, when you are dealing with individual sports? For example, all the responsibility bears upon you. It doesn't bear upon anybody else. Of course, there is an aspect of team in combat sports. For example, some of the things that are in combat sports, you have to have a team, you got to have a nutritionist, you have to have all of these things, right? Jay Mara says, you're right, man. You got to make something new, something unique, something that stands out. Well, there you go, man. You're from Inglewood Blood, and you understand my channel, right? You probably like MMA as well, so you're also going to understand some of the things that I talk about. By the way, speaking of Inglewood Blood, right, I think, I'm not sure if you're from the same area as Munchie B. Are you familiar with Munchie B, by the way, Jay Mara? And by the way, Jay Mara, that, from what I understand, that's a Hispanic name, is it not? Now, I'm willing to assume you're either half Hispanic or you're full Hispanic or you're a Hispanic that's from a black neighborhood, right? Am I right on that, or am I close to some of the assessments that I'm making there, right? And of course, anybody that understands gangs or understands the history of gang politics in California will absolutely understand everything that I just said right now, and I'm sure you understand what I mean. But yeah, Jay Mara, that's a very interesting name, considering that you come from, you know, Inglewood, 77th Street. So Adriel the Gamer says, hi, hey, my man, let me know what part of the world you are from. Jackson says, dude, you seem like the chillest streamer ever. Man, well, thank you, my man. Thank you. I'm glad that you noticed that, right? You know, oftentimes, one of the most beautiful things about YouTube, right, is, well, at least if you are a content that has your face out there, right? Unlike, let's say Weasel, right? You don't know what Weasel looks like. You only see the majority of his videos are basically audio with a few visuals here and there. So you don't know what he looks like. You can't delve into his eyes to understand who he is. For example, I have another homie of mine who's also a content creator. His name is Fitness Anonymous, right? His name is Fitness Anonymous, but I know who he is in real life, right? He has a mask. He does content regarding technique. He shows you a lot of technique and this and that, but you don't know what he looks like. So it's a little bit of a different content. This is a little bit more interpersonal, in your face, me having your face on your screen and you kind of understanding where I am coming from. Adriel the Gamer says, you are the best YouTuber. Thank you, my man. Thank you. Trying to get up there, of course. Trying to get up there with the best of them. Michael Grimes says, I don't know why this popped up on my recommendation, but I'll give you a fair shot to win me over. Well, shout out to you, Michael Grimes. What I do here, obviously, what I had just talked about earlier is I talk about MMA, combat sports in general, gang politics in California, and geopolitics around the world. So there you go, man. Actual Combat says, salam, bro. Jay Mara says, I like that you have actual combat sports experience, not just another analysis that don't know what the F they're talking about. Well, there you go, man. Jay, being that you're from Inglewood, obviously, man, listen, it is a reputable, blood neighborhood where you come from, right? Guys like you want authenticity, right? And meaning that the authenticity that you want is somebody that has credibility in certain things, right? By the way, in that world, I got credibility in that world too. I know it doesn't seem that way because I may come off as a square or I may come off as somebody that's, let's say, talks proper. But believe me, I'm somebody that a lot of people, really don't know about. You know what I mean? I'm somebody that a lot of people can't understand, if you know what I mean. So, I think you know exactly what this means. So shout out to you and everybody out there. Cody Rhodes on top. Okay, so I'm assuming this is in reference to something that happened with Cody Rhodes. Now, someone asked me, am I a big WWE fan? Not so much, not recently. I haven't watched it. Although when John Cena became a bad guy, I got really interested in it. So American Nightmare makes the best champ. Okay, Jay Mara says, we grew up squabbling every day. I'm black Mexican, so got picked even. Oh yeah, folks finna be testing me my whole life. So Jay Mara, there it is, man. We got something in common right here, right? So I'm half Arabic. I grew up with a lot of Samoans and Asians, right? Hence why, I threw this up at you, because you know exactly what this means. And yeah, man, I think that if you're a half-breed in any in any California gang, I was going to say in a Mexican gang, because I was thinking of the movie Blood In, Blood Out, where they have Miko, right? A half-white, half-Mexican guy who's being put on in the hood. But ever since that movie, there's been a lot of Mikos out there in the world. Yeah, those Samoans stand on business. Knew plenty of Usos growing up. How about this? Mac 10. Mac 10 is from Inglewood. He's Inglewood blood, from what I understand, right? Backyard boogie, 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 backyard. You know that song from back in '97. Yeah, Mac 10, I believe, is also Samoan, but I think the set that he runs with is mostly black dudes, right? I think that kind of goes the same with you as well. I think you're, I think you probably run with, black, but you're also half, right? And then the Mexicans probably, the Mexicans probably pick on you a lot because of the fact that you are a Mexican that comes from a black neighborhood. The Booyah tribe, where I'm from here, Samoan blood gang. Okay, yes, I'm very familiar with the Booyah tribe, yes. And yeah, I know that they are, they are part of, that organization. Hate Love says, Roman Reigns, my tribal chief. Yes. Roman Reigns. How is he doing nowadays, right? I know he's not champion anymore, but he was champion for quite some time before all that. So, Father says, prediction, sir, for Manny Pacquiao versus Ryan Garcia on December 26th. What? Hold up. We got Ryan Garcia versus Manny Pacquiao December 26th. Wow. Listen, I'm going to mark that comment, okay? Because even though there are other fights that we would like to talk about, I also want to sort of delve into that, right? So, okay, Manny Pacquiao, when he took on Vargas recently, I honestly thought Vargas was going to walk through this guy. I thought Manny Pacquiao was washed. He showed me something different in there. And I got to tell you, that fight right there, is now a lot closer than what we would imagine. Jay Mara says even Jacob Fatu and Zilla Fatu were outside with it, and they were active. Yes. Those guys in WWE, the Samoan guys in WWE, I've heard a lot about them. Yes, these guys are not just, you know, actors on screen, you know, like what they do in the WWE. These guys are really with it, right? They are really with the business, and yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Yes, that's a very astute observation on your part, Jay Mara. Yes, that is very true. They are definitely about that life and should not be mistaken as fake wrestlers and whatnot. And speaking of wrestling, obviously Roger Jackson case is still ongoing right now. Let's take a look at where Roger Jackson is at that current moment of time right now. Now, ever since then, there was this adverse effect, or maybe positive effect, to a lot of the people that were involved in it, right? Like, obviously, there was Doug Mallow, the first guy who came after Roger Jackson after the beatdown, right? As a result of that, his channel started blowing up. I started to learn about him, right? Doug Mallow and his boys at the Scaling Up podcast, they do sort of this thing where they catch predators, right? Very similar to what Vitaly did. Shout out to Vitaly. He's locked up in the Philippines right now. Free Vitaly to anybody that's out there. Chris Hansen does content like that. So now Scaling Up Podcast does that, and I love it, right? By the way, if you're a street dude, I need you to understand something about this, right? If you're a street dude that's ever going to do content with people like this that do predator stuff or this and that, you cannot call the police when it comes to these people. You got to handle it yourself. That's really all there is to it, right? Street politics on Cali is complicated as F. It really is, Jay, because a lot of it, well, look, I don't want to disrespect any group, but I will say that it's a lot more complicated on certain groups of people, right? Like, for example, what group of people do you know, Jay, that will tell you to, let's say, slide on somebody when you are in your last month of your prison bid, right? What group of people do you think will, let's not get into that, but you know what, you and I know what I'm talking about here, right? But let's leave it at that. Hey, you know what? Check out my members section only, right? Because I do talk about certain topics on that, right? I have a video regarding Little Dirk, right? I delve into, is Little Dirk a Muslim, right? And I delve into that, so check that out, because those are very controversial topics that I can't go into on a public forum that we are doing right now. But all right, so shocking new details regarding Roger Jackson. Let's see here. What are some of the shocking details that we got going on with Roger Jackson? Hate Love says, I just found out Bronson Reed is also Samoan. Roman embarrassed Bronson about being a fake Samoan. It was funny as F. Man, I tell you what, man, that sounds like everyday street politics, if you ask me, Hate Love, right? Being called a fake Samoan or this and that. I hear it a lot with, you know, with my fellow Islander brothers. But all right, let's...
attack at that Knox wrestling event again in Los Angeles. I think we thought this was going to happen. It took a couple of weeks, but yesterday morning he finally was taken into custody.
Yeah, at around 9 a.m., we're told cops executed a arrest warrant at his house in Huntington Beach, California, which is obviously far from Los Angeles. It's a bit far. It's 30, 40 miles away. They transported him up to a jail in Pacoima and booked him on a charge.
Oh, wow. So he's locked up in Pacoima right now, right? Which is interesting because Whack 100 went and called Rampage Jackson while he was doing a show with Adam 22. And then he said something to the effect of, well, you know what, man, listen, you know, your son had every right to do that and this and that. Trank says, have a blessed day in Romanian. Have a blessed day in Romanian? Huh. Okay, I think what you're trying to say is have a blessed day from Romania. Shout out to you, man. We got some Romanians in here, man. Bro, I love this, bro. We got Cali heads. We got people from around the world, Romania. I got a lot of followers in the UK. a lot of followers in Europe. I got a lot of German fans, Irish fans especially. So J. Mara says, Bronson Reed doing that Debo-ish on Roman Reigns. Hate Love says, yeah, of course, but his tribe was expelled to Oz. The promo gas grit. But back to the topic at hand. And then Hate Love is laughing at what Jay is saying here. So, okay.
Felony battery causing serious bodily injury. Okay. He stayed there for several hours, and this morning when I woke up, I talked to a jail official who told me he bonded out at some point overnight. He was held on.
So, there it is. He got bonded out, right? Which is a good sign. I'm going to tell you why this is a good sign. Now, obviously, there is no premeditated murder. I know a lot of people out there were screaming, oh my God, Raja committed premeditated murder. Oh, he's such a bad guy, this and that. Hate Love says, Kyrie, we support you, we respect you, brother. Shout out to you on that, Hate Love. Shout out to you and everybody in the UAE. You're from the oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. You're not from the UAE. You're from UK. I was thinking of someone else that was from the UAE. But yeah, we got UAE fans in here too. Thank you for that. So everybody was going on about how this is attempted murder, how Roger Jackson should be placed in custody without bail. Well, the fact remains that it's not attempted murder, and there's reasons why it was not attempted murder, because he did not premeditate it in any kind of way. He didn't plan to do it in any kind of way. And David Otunga, who, by the way, was a former professional wrestler, also a lawyer who graduated from Harvard Law, is telling you guys that is the reality of it, and everybody wants to put Roger Jackson in prison. And the reason for that is because of this. There's been an ongoing flux of black on white violence all throughout the United States, right? So as a result of that, when they see something as familiar as that with Roger Jackson and Stu, who looks whiter than white, right? They start saying to themselves, wow, you know what? I could relate to that. Maybe that could be me getting beat up by, an angry black youth of some sort, right? So now they use that and they say, hey, you know what, man? This guy needs to go to prison for a long time. That's how they kind of see it. Tran says, means have a nice and blessed day in Romanian language. Oh, okay. Shout out to you, man. Write it in Romanian. I want to try to see if I could read it, Tranks. Hate Love says, wait, Ryan Garcia versus Manny? That has to be wrong. I don't think Ryan Garcia deserves the fight. Well, he may not deserve that fight, but as soon as Manny Pacquiao wants that fight, Manny Pacquiao obviously seems like he could get any fight he wants. He came off of a loss, then all of a sudden he goes in and fights Vargas for the world title, which is absolutely insane if you think about it.
A $50,000 bond for those hours, but he made it out, and now he's...
So that there's a reason why Roger Jackson was given bond and was released as a result. There's a reason why, and here it is.
I guess free until we go to trial in this case, if charges are actually filed.
Right. So I think a couple things here. One, it is a felony. That's a little bit of a debate. Was it going to be a misdemeanor? Was it going to be a felony charge? At the same time, I know there's a lot of people, I think Harvey's one of the people that believes that.
John Steele says it's even in their name, Romanian. Yes. A lot of it has derivatives of the Roman Empire and whatnot. Obviously, the Roman Empire, you could argue, stretched from Italy all the way to the British Empire, or at least the British Empire was the successor of the Roman Empire. And obviously, the name Romanian has derivatives of that. And obviously, it is the home country of none other than our fellow Muslim brother, Andrew Tate. So
this should have ultimately been attempted murder, not just a felony battery charge.
You'll recall, on August 23rd, he picked up Psycho Stu, the wrestler, and slammed him on his head. And as he was unconscious, he punched him upwards of 22 times. And the only reason he stopped, or the only reason it appeared he stopped, was 4, 5, 6 other wrestlers pulling him off. So that's where the theory is, Was he perhaps undercharged or underbooked on this for this and not maybe perhaps he should have been booked on a murder?
Oh, and I remember, you remember it as we watched the video, as they were trying to tug Raja off of Psycho Stu. I mean, he did not want to go. I mean, he wanted to continue the attack.
Hate Love says, I think maybe not premeditated, but maybe in the heat of the moment. Rampage kept pushing his button. Well, that's my take on it. So I did a video saying that Rampage Jackson is a bad father. Look, I'm going to tell you guys this, right? I honestly think Rampage Jackson is a bad father. He really is. He's a bad father, especially from the standards of what we have in the Islamic culture, right? He's a horrible dad. However, Rampage Jackson lives in California. He helped out a lot of California fighters in his gym. AJ McKee is one of them, right? He's helped out a lot of people, and especially in California. So in that regard, I consider him as a fellow Californian, right? And if there's, Jay Mara understands this better than anybody, right? We could come from a rival set of neighborhoods. If, let's say, we're out of state, right? Let's say I see another Californian who's from a rival neighborhood in New York getting jumped by some New York guys. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go help that rival, because there is no way in heck I'm going to allow a bunch of New York guys to go beat up on a Californian. That's my sentiment on Rampage Jackson. If there's people out there that are threatening his family's life, you better believe that I will go and slide for Rampage Jackson on that regard, right? I'm not going to let anybody hurt Rampage Jackson. However, I will criticize him, and I will say the guy is a bad father and is indicative of the things that he says to his son. It is indicative of how he treats his son. It is indicative of the dismissive attitude that he has. And quite frankly, I'm going to be honest with you, I just think that Rampage Jackson is not the most emotionally intelligent person out there. That's just a fact. He's not. And it's indicative of his behavior. It's indicative of the fact that I mean, look, what father do you know at his age shares women with his son? I mean, that's basically what they do, but to each his own, I suppose. Hate Love says, yeah, I saw the video, bro, so I get your point, and I agree with you, bro. Okay, Trank says, yeah, Romania comes from Roman Empire. Even the Byzantine called themselves Romayo. Yes, I love it. I love it. Yes, good history lesson right there.
Attack, and you see him, and thankfully there were other people there. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened. I mean, Psycho Stu was unconscious from the second he hit the ring floor. He was out, and every single one of those punches was to an unconscious person. They were big punches. They were heavy punches. He is a MMA fighter. He's not John Jones, at least not at this point. But the bottom line is that Raja Jackson is a powerful guy who knows how to fight, and Psycho Stu was unconscious, his wife said, when he got to the hospital. Still, all that time later, goes to show how bad his injuries were. Now, Rampage Jackson likes to stream. He's been...
Hey Love says, Tranks, I found that out on the Vikings, LOL. I'm not even joking. Well, there you go, right? You can find education in the most peculiar places, and obviously the show Viking is one of them.
Streaming a lot lately. He does it on Kick. He was actually streaming. He was speaking with his fans as he reacted to the Raja Jackson arrest news. Here's Dad.
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. He got to learn his lesson. We're with you, brother. Yeah. 100%. I didn't want to chime in, but you already know. Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. All I can do is be a dad, you know what I'm saying? He don't listen to me. At the end of the day, he can't say that I didn't do what I was supposed to do as a dad.
So there it is. And I'll say this about Rampage. Rampage has placed some of the blame on Psycho Stu. We said that Psycho Stu never should have hit Raja with that beer can. That was a little bit of time unclear.
So, all right. A couple of things I took on that, right? Rampage said something to the effect of, well, you know what? He doesn't listen to me. Well, why do you think he doesn't listen to you? It's because you have low emotional intelligence. On top of that, You're very dismissive. And look, I get it, man. I know I would have done things differently, but let's be honest about this, right? I'm way more intelligent than Rampage Jackson. I'm sorry. That's just the way that it is, right? I'm more emotionally intelligent than he is. I have a better communication skills than he does. That's just the way that it is, man. It is what it is. And unfortunately, Rampage, you know, Rampage is Rampage, and he's going to rampage his way through life, right? That's just what he knows. Hate Love says, yeah, and when I heard it, I checked if it was right, and it was. A good point to bring that up, Tranks. Okay.
Or exactly how much time before the incident happened in the ring. But Rampage rather, has not really made a whole bunch of excuses for Raja. He said, look, he made a mistake here, and he's going to have to pay the price. This charge, the felony battery, is a charge that could potentially, if he's convicted, carry a couple of years in prison. Now, if it is ultimately...
Okay, now that's wild, right? Serving a couple of years in prison, this is what my prediction is going to be. He's going to serve with parole. That's what I think is going to happen here. This is California, guys. Nobody goes to jail for beating somebody up, although depending on how bad it is, I know that how bad this may be, but we also have to take the judge's consideration that it was a wrestling show, that he was assaulted. Can we be honest, guys? Roger Jackson was assaulted. When I was in middle school, going to middle school in New Jersey, I got sent to the principal's office because me and a fellow student, you know, started shoving at each other, right? So they brought us into the principal's office, and I'm never going to forget this because this made me understand law when it comes to physical contact. The principal said to me, do you realize that this is assault? Meaning that he took his finger and tapped my arm like this. He said, that's assault. I was like, really? He says, yes, that's assault. This is assault. So how much more you take a can, okay, like this to the head, and once again, even with a slight tap like this is going to affect the way that you react to things, especially if you're coming off of a concussion from a tornado kick hit by your sparring partner. Hate Love says, yeah, and when I heard... Okay, yeah, I read that part. Okay, so we'll get more into the Rampage Jackson saga, right? I want to get to the conspiracy of Charlie Kirk, right? Because a lot of people right now are saying that Charlie Kirk was hit from the back, when in reality he was hit from the front. A lot of people are saying that he was hit from the back. There was somebody that was in a window or something like that behind him that may have taken the shot, but I think that this conspiracy has been proven wrong, just like many other JFK conspiracies that have been out there. Republicanism says, what's up, brother? Shout out to you, Republicanism. Shout out to you right here. So we got two types of red teams in the chat right now. We got an Inglewood Blood, and we got a MAGA full red supporter right here. So we got some red teams up in here. Oh, I feel so surrounded. Oh, all right, man. All right, so let's get to the Charlie Kirk conspiracy, right? Hate Love says, I think they are going to make an example. If they go too easy on the sentencing in public, will not keep quiet. It will cause more civil unrest. So they got to make a statement on Raja. I tell you what, man, the whole Charlie Kirk situation, I'm going to be honest with you, I think really took a lot of heat from Rampage and Raja. I swear to you, right? Now, if let's say Charlie Kirk was never hit up the way that he did in Utah, right? And we are now living just normal every day to day without Charlie Kirk getting hit, right? The whole entire attention of the news world would still be on Raja Jackson. Okay, it would still be on him. And if that is on him, it will cause pressure for the district attorneys of whatever jurisdiction is going to handle this. Obviously, Los Angeles County is the jurisdiction behind all of this. It will put more pressure. Now that the attention is sort of alleviating away, I think that it somehow creates it creates an environment where there's going to be very less outside influences. What are your thoughts on Jimmy Kimmel? So, very good question. I know that that's a question that a lot of people are wondering right now about Jimmy Kimmel. What I will say is that Jimmy Kimmel, he's not the best host out there, right? But that's besides the point. Now, I don't think that he meant to make fun of Charlie in any kind of way, but people who are pro-Charlie, who are pro-MAGA, who are absolutely upset about this, they want blood, right? So anything that anyone says, they want repercussions against them. And Jimmy Kimmel, unfortunately, was the victim of that. 9090 says, it mainly took attention from the attack on Qatar, brother. Yes, that is very true, 9090. The Raja situation is almost insignificant compared to all these other stuff. Yes, it is insignificant to the Qatar attack, which, by the way, Qatar and Saudi Arabia may create a response against Israel. Right now, that created a strain against Israel. And also, being the fact that America is primarily with Israel, this is going to force Qatar and Saudi Arabia to look elsewhere for different allies, different powerhouse allies. That's Russia and China. By the way, let me explain to you what Saudi Arabia does with the weapons purchases that they do, right? When they buy American weapons, they use those American weapons to supply Saudi forces, conventional Saudi forces, special forces in the Saudi Arabian military, the intelligence apparatus of the Saudi Arabian government. But when they buy guns from Russians, guess what they do with the Russian weapons? What the Saudis do with the Russian weapons that they buy? They give the guns to the Mujahideen, which consists of anybody from the ISIS to Al-Qaeda to... Now, I know they don't openly support Al-Qaeda, but you also got to understand that Saudi Arabia has a fragmented state in the inside, meaning there are people out there who support Al-Qaeda, who support ISIS inside the Saudi Arabian government, or maybe even the royal family of Saudi Arabia. Because remember this, right? Osama bin Laden was once caught having lunch out in the middle of the desert in Sudan with princes from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait, right? And that is the reason why the United States decided to not bomb the location of where bin Laden was at. So this just gives you a little bit of an insight to the, I'm not going to say the playing both sides of the fence, but you got to understand some countries have to do that in order for survival. In the European side of things, Switzerland is a great example of that. In fact, I sort of compare Qatar to that of Switzerland. In fact, Qatar is the Switzerland of the Gulf Arab Middle Eastern states. They're neutral to everybody, and for whatever reason, Israel decided to violate that neutrality by bombing them. And my assumption is that there are Hamas and Taliban offices in Qatar. That is the only justification that Israel can come up with. Okay, so back to the Charlie Kirk conspiracy going on, right? Let's see here. Okay, let's hear what Joe Rogan had to say about this. Okay, so Charlie Kirk was shot from behind. No, he wasn't, according to Jesse on Fire. Let's hear what he has to say about this right here, and then we'll get to Joe Rogan's stuff.
Well, I'm sure a lot of you guys are waiting for this since you've seen this video in the last couple hours, because so many people have sent this to me. But we have a shocking development in the Charlie Kirk assassination investigation that is going to require an enormous video, okay? Because according to new evidence that everyone is now seeing on the internet, Charlie was shot from behind, and it's definitive. And so we're going to have to look through.
Now, I need you guys to understand, Jesse later retracted these statements, right? He says that it's definitive that he was shot from behind, but he says otherwise later on.
Through it, okay? And when I say it's definitive, I don't do that, dude. Like, I don't say it's definitive if it's not, because this is definitive. When you look at this, the only way that you could say it's not is if someone doctored this video, and the two guys who were involved in creating it, Range Day Bro, congratulations on this video, my man. This is going to be a big breakout moment for you, and it feels good. He's got his name on it, and then the guy who actually created the video, which was shared with him, his name, all of his handles are in this too. So I have no reason to think that this is doctored, which means it's definitive. So once we establish that he was shot from behind, and we see later in the video the shooter very likely caught on video, which is also included here, now we have to start having a much bigger conversation. Two bigger conversations, in fact. Okay. The first.
All right. So here we go. New video evidence that changes everything. Let's hear what Range Bro had to say about this. Shout out to Range Bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now have acquired proof that the FBI's official story is false, whether knowingly or unknowingly. We're going to have an entire monologue.
Look how strapped up Range Bro is. Look how strapped up this dude is right here. Look at this. Wow. Look at that. Look at the drums on that. Wow, man. Yeah, this dude is strapped up to the gills. Now, unfortunately, in California, we can't really just flaunt our stuff out there like that, but shout outs to everybody that lives in states where you're allowed to do that.
And talk about a lot of these.
Look at his hat. He says abolish the ATF. What is this? What is that about? All right, this is really interesting
After
here.
I show you this, but if you take nothing.
Okay, let's see. Republicanism says there is absolutely no way that someone shot him from behind. Yes, I agree with you, Republicanism. You can see that the body kickback, from what I've heard, because I refuse to watch, because Charlie would want this memory, would want his memory not to be his death. Yes, yes. I agree. It's a ridiculous notion, right, after finding out certain things. But let's hear what this man has to say, because there are other people out there that sort of have a different take on it.
Else away from this video, you need to see this.
And in that video, you can see the same, what appears to be the bullet coming down, and it does line up with the actual gunshot itself. So they're not coming gang violence.
So this video was created by a friend of mine who is a Marine. You'll see him here at the end. This is the angle he is showing the shot coming from, showing where Charlie was sitting, and the angle of the shot, which will correspond with this video here, which unfortunately we will blur out Charlie's face, but we will show what is necessary to prove that this was an entry and exit wound. So you'll see him circle the highlighted area right there, and you'll see the exit wound corresponding after, split second after, as it would from an entry and exit wound. So in this footage, you can clearly see that Charlie is shot from his back right, and there's blood splatter coming out of the entry wound immediately after a shot. The first arc is kind of down, as if it's just gushing out from the entry wound. And then the second shot corresponds with when his head kind of snaps forward. That fluid then flips up in relation to that motion, so you can see there's that second splatter flipping up into the air.
Okay, so let's look at the other conspiracies on this, right? Let's look at the counter narrative to this. Because obviously there's a counter narrative to this, right? Check out Range Day Bro. Truth Seeker, shout out to you, my man. Shout out to you. Welcome, my man. So let's see here. Look, you guys got to understand something about this, right? Does the new footage disprove Charlie Kirk's shot from behind? Valhalla. Let's hear what Valhalla has. Well, no, actually, that's a little bit longer right there. So, a second here. Yeah. You know what? Let's go with him, since I already called his name out already. Shout out to Valhalla right here, former Green Beret.
Go to the website you love.
Republicanism is also, why wouldn't the government tell us about this? They told us everything, and it led to the assassin's capture. I tell you what, man, it definitely does help if your friend is Kash Patel, right? I know Kash Patel and Charlie Kirk were close homies, right? So obviously he's going to work a lot harder than anybody else, right? I mean, look, it's no different than, you know, the street world of California, right? If somebody came and tried to take out one of our homies, then, you know, we absolutely would go slide for that dude in the most expeditious manner possible. Well, it just so happens that the big homie of Charlie Kirk is the head of the FBI, right? 9090 says, I heard that the FBI was working with Charlie's security team, so it's very unlikely that just a random civilian could do that when he has the kind of security team, unless they were still on it. So 9090, you also got to understand, Charlie Kirk is not the president, right? So he's not going to have top-notch security team the way that the Secret Service is going to be top-notch about what they do. It's not about that at all, right? Like, they are loose. They usually have less sense of heightened security because they just think, well, you know what, this is normal. It's a college campus. There's nothing but a bunch of liberals here. So therefore, they're going to underestimate the situation and not really give it the full respect that it deserves.
Hello, everybody, and the Charlie Kirk, I guess we can call it a debacle at this point, continues to get even weirder as there's been some new footage and some new really big videos, two that we're going to look at in this video that have come out in the last couple.
Hate Love says, well, Cash could also be part of the... No, man. For what reason would Kash Patel want to do that? Look, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like Kash Patel whatsoever, right? He's not my homie whatsoever. In fact, he probably is actively trying to lock up some of my homies right now. You know what I mean? Whether it's from the Muslim side or the gang side of it all, he's probably trying to lock up my homies. So I'm not a fan of Kash Patel in any kind of way. But I'm going to be fair and objective to the reason that, hey, listen, Kash Patel is a homie of Charlie Kirk. And I completely believe him when he says that he loves Charlie, he cares for him, and he would slide for him. And that's exactly what he did, right? In my opinion, nothing is out of the question anymore. Correct, Truth Seeker. And that is why your name is Truth Seeker. And by the way, shout out to you. I'm going to pin that comment right there because that's right. In his opinion, nothing is out of the question anymore. And I share that opinion and that sentiment as well. Shout out to Truth Seeker, from the race whisperer to the truth seeker. There it is, man. Republicanism says they just trying to troll you. No. It's all good. It's all good. Of course. It's part of the game. But yes, you know, all right, let's hear what Valhalla has to say about this. By the way, how ironic I picked the guy named Valhalla, right? Because what did Kash Patel say when Charlie died? He says, well, I'll see you in Valhalla. I assume that is Jannah, or heaven, as we call it in Arabic, right? Valhalla is that the meaning of it? Is it heaven, perhaps? But yeah, Truth Seeker says, very true, 9090. 9090 says, brother, Charlie was being threatened by Israel, that they would take him out if he went against them, and lately he has been questioning them, so I think he would have expected this and have better security. Yeah. You know what, man? Listen, Mossad really feels like they could take out anybody in the world, and they have. Do you guys remember the German Olympics, right? Where these Palestinians went and captured and detained these Israeli athletes, right? And then they massacred them. Well, what did the Israelis do? They went around the world and found these people across Europe, across America, and got at them, right? So I do believe that if Mossad wants to get at you, they can. And guess what? Look, I think Mossad is one of the toughest intelligence agencies around the world because they kind of have to, if you think about it, right? If you think about Israel, look at the uniforms that they have. I mean, it is the wackest BDU uniforms I've ever seen in my life. They don't got any digital camouflage the way that the Americans do. Not even the British. Weirdly enough, the British don't go with digital camouflage. I don't know why, right? But at least they have a camouflage, right? The French have camouflage. The Israelis, they don't have any camouflage. It's just a green outfit. And it's like, they're not the best conventional military forces, right? So with that in mind, they have to rely on their intelligence apparatus to protect their country or to protect their interests. Valhalla is a heaven in the Norse mythology. Yes, 9090 says. Afternoon says, what are your thoughts on Raja being arrested? Quite shocking. It was a long time coming, but I think they needed to gather more evidence. Also, you got to understand the LAPD was very busy at the time. They were working with the FBI to actively try and lock up Hoover Crips, who were, by the way, running a prostitution ring. And weirdly enough, speaking of Charlie Kirk, these neo-Nazi gangs, and by the way, for those of you that don't understand California gang politics, there are real neo-Nazi gangs around here. It's not just in the movies of American History X with Edward Norton. They are real people, and they really exist, and they are a real organization. So what did they do in the process? They ended up going to a Crip neighborhood. I don't know why, right? I've never seen any gang members from the Hoover Crips to Rolling 60s to the Avalon or Piru Blood or Inglewood Blood or none of that. No gang member or anyone in that California organization has ever said anything negative about Charlie in any kind of way. In fact, I tell people all the time that Charlie was not killed by a gang member or an Islamic terrorist in any kind of way, because he does not serve their interests in any kind of way. He is not a valuable target, right? These are people that are looking for targets that deal with, well, things that have a little bit more of a significant reality to the scope of the mission statement that a gang member or a terrorist organization is trying to make. So, Afternoon says, weird talking about Norse mythology when Charlie was a very local Christian. Yeah, you know what? That is quite strange, right? Yeah, I don't think... But you know what it is? I think what Kash Patel was trying to do with saying Valhalla was that he's trying to emphasize the fact that, hey, you know what? It's some sort of like war cry that a lot of veterans or a lot of military people use. Like this guy, Valhalla. Why does he call himself Valhalla? Well, he is a former Green Beret Delta Force guy, and he has Viking genetics. He comes from a lineage of people that come from the Nordic part of Europe, and so he wanted to kind of tie that in. And so, you know, I think that's where the derivatives of that comes from. Pork Chop says there's an old German quote. It translates, to those who will not listen must feel. To those who will not listen must feel. Okay. Republicanism says ma mu mu awula hope. Okay. Hate Love says 9090 Hindus worship lots of gods, very similar to... Yes. Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go, right? So I guess that is also the other connection that Kash Patel is going off of, right? He's going off of his own Hindu background that is very similar to that of the Norse mythology of the Nordic religions. Hindus believe in Valhalla, brother. Kash Patel just practices that on the mirror after watching the Vikings show and probably thought it sounded cool. Well, there you go, right? Kash Patel, I mean. Yeah. By the way, Kash Patel is spelled with a K, not with a C. So, yeah, he doesn't deserve to have a C on his name. Yeah, let me get off the gang vernaculars on that one. But yeah, Viking Netflix edition. Yes, yes.
Days. Yeah, the first being from Range Day Bro, very good video showing Charlie Kirk was shot from behind, and this was an exit wound. That video, you've probably seen it, it's got like 5 million views, incredibly viral. And then this morning, a video comes out. The first time we've seen footage from behind Charlie Kirk from...
Hate Love says, I never said they believe in Valhalla. I just said their gods are very similar. You know what? The Vikings were all part of their membership. Some of them were also Muslims, right? And there's artifacts that sort of vouch for this, right? They found Arabic letters in the uniforms of some Vikings, and so, yeah, you know, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of modern Vikings that are now Muslim converts, right? From the Norway, Denmark, England, all these white Western countries, a lot of them are becoming Muslim now. So, which, by the way, is the biggest fear that a lot of people have in Europe right now.
Jesse with Fire's YouTube channel maybe debunking some of the shot from behind, but also maybe not, okay? So I've gone through both these videos. I found some things that are very, very compelling, and then I found some things that are showing maybe this isn't as conclusive proof as we thought about both of them. All right, so that's what we're gonna do in this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Helps the channel. Let's jump into it. First video we're gonna go through is the Range Day Bro video showing Charlie Kirk potentially being shot from behind. There's some...
Okay, we went through that one at least briefly, but let's skip this a little bit.
Just by thinking about it. Meet base 44.
Okay, we're gonna...
who this shooter was, all right? So take a look at this.
This guy's talking about this bush up here in the top left of this photo, and he zooms in on it, and he's stating that it does look suspicious. It does look suspicious. It looks like there is a person right here, and it looks like there is a rifle right here that the person is holding. A hand here, a support hand, sort of very blurry.
Now look, this right here is what makes this very compelling, okay? And once again, when I look and delve into it, it could go either one way or the other, honestly, right? Now, my speculation is that, yes, there was another shooter, and then they had a decoy, or they were probably trying to have two people at the same time so that they can get the shot just in case the first one missed. That could also be a possibility that you...
image, but you can clearly make out that this is not just a bush.
Okay, so this is a big problem. So when you look at this, it's so low fidelity, it's hard to say. We're kind of assuming things here. So I figured, why don't I find the overhead imagery of that platform and see what's actually up there beyond just this guy in the bush, which we found, and it's going to complicate some things. All right, guys, so here's this platform. Here's this supposed guy up behind here. Kind of looks like that, right? But let me see some overhead imagery of this. Now we might be able to actually see what this is, okay? And as you can see, this is obviously overhead imagery. Nobody's there, right? This potential shooter's not just still standing up here behind this bush. But if we look...
So there you go. This right here debunks all of that, right? Nobody is right up there.
Look at this. It looks to be like some sort of bench with a bush on top of it would lend towards what looks like, you know, sort of you see something behind that bush. Well, that's probably that bench and that bush or whatever it is. Again, not saying that this wasn't potentially a shooter hiding behind this, but if we zoom in, we can very clearly see what looks to be some sort of bench and maybe, you know, a bush. Almost looks like a guy sitting there with a rifle. So... Again, I'm assuming this is, in that first image is such low fidelity that this is actually what you're seeing up there, not a person hiding behind a bush. But again, who knows? Again, not saying that he wasn't shot from behind or the upright, but I think the idea that that guy was behind a bush, it's kind of a long shot now, seeing that overhead imagery. And we're going to run into some complications. Was that blood blowing out the back, or was that an earpiece? And this new video shows us a lot of new information. All right, guys, the world is crazy right now. It's very easy to get super stressed out. The best way you can combat that, keep that mental health up, is work.
Fox News, and then we're going to show him specifically in the video and exactly how he behaved, because I think it answers that question pretty definitively. All right, so here's what we're looking at. He gets hit right here, and I freeze frame the first moment that it hits him. And you can see right there, it blows backwards, okay? Now we're going to look at that again, because I think that is the most definitive thing that we've seen in terms of the direction. To me, it seems very clear that the shot came from the front, because, again, his shirt blows backwards. And take a look again, and you see the way that his body reacts.
Okay, let's talk about some things here. very, very interesting video. There's a lot going on here. I want to break it all down.
Hey, shout out to NJ, my man. NJ, he says, what's good, my boy? Shout out to you, my man.
Okay. Is this definitive proof that Charlie was shot from the front because his t-shirt billows up from behind? Well, like I said earlier, that clip we showed, the problem with this theory is that the front of Charlie Kirk's shirt also blows way up. Okay, we've seen both the front and the back do the same thing. The other problem I'm having with this is from behind, you can very clearly see there's no exit wound coming out the right back of his neck where this potentially is pulling that shirt up from. So if there's no exit wound and the bullet did not pass through, what exactly, the bullet's not causing that shirt to get pulled up and backwards. It's potentially just still shockwave of Charlie being hit by something. And again, front of the shirt does it, back of the shirt does it. I'm not willing to say that's conclusive evidence of Charlie Kirk being shot from the front at all, based off of just reaction. And had it just been the back of the shirt raised and we saw an exit wound, got it. The fact that the front of the shirt also raises and there's no exit wound, I don't know. I don't think that's proof of much, personally. Could Charlie Kirk have been hit in the base of the skull from the back right, which the impact of that causes both the front and the back of the shirt to raise? Maybe. I'm not sure. But could it also be a front shot? Absolutely. We're trying to figure that out. But the next really important part of this is what we can see from behind now. And that is what is very clearly not blood and an earpiece. So I'm still framing this so you guys can see this. This is right.
All right. So something to understand about this, right? Obviously, the earpiece that they're talking about is sort of the reason why. He says, cool, now your SME is a failed long tabber. I don't understand what you mean by that. Now your SME is a failed long tabber. I don't understand what that means, Sky Soldier. You're going to have to emphasize that a little bit. So, all right, listen, guys. There's obviously a lot of theories going into this, right? A lot of different analysis that people are getting at. A lot of different outlooks, a lot of different takes on this particular matter at hand. It could go either way, right? It's just like what Marty said earlier, right? He says, in my opinion, nothing is out of the question anymore. And that is the reason why I highlighted that particular topic. So Sky Soldier says, subject matter expert. Cool. You are now a subject matter expert is a failed long tabber. A long tab is an SF tab. Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, so we talked about that. You're not going to get any definitive conclusions right now other than what the FBI is telling you as the official story of this whole entire fiasco, right? So as a result of that, we may never know, or we may just stick to the conventional story that is being told right now. All right, so next topic at hand that I want to get to right now, right? It is Canelo being set up by Turki El-Sheikh. So obviously, Canelo has took on Terence Crawford, has lost convincingly, but he signed a contract, a multiple fight contract with Turki El-Sheikh that's worth $400 million, right? So he earns $100 million on this one. The next one, he's going to earn another $100 million, right? Or $150 million. So that's $300 million. And then his last fight, right? I think Turki El-Sheikh is trying to sabotage his career in the end, in a way where Canelo sort of understands and knows that, hey, you know what? I can beat anybody in the world. I'm born ready for this. You know, I'm made for this, or this, that, and the other, right? That's the way that he sort of operates in this, right? He's not scared of anybody or this and that, but at the same time, it could affect his career. And this is the reason why Floyd Mayweather never really signed a long-term contract with any particular promoter, because of the fact that he wanted to control his own destiny. Well, right now, Canelo is not controlling his own destiny, right? He's being set up to get beat up by Artur Betrbiev. He got beat up by Crawford. And there's a reason why Turki El-Sheikh was siding with Crawford this whole entire time, openly. But I stress to people that Turki El-Sheikh is not a promoter. He brings in promoters to do that job. He's a financier, and as a result of being a financier, he has every right to show favoritism to certain people. You know what? When the Fertitta brothers ran the UFC, they showed favoritism towards Frankie Edgar. Obviously, Frankie Edgar is an Italian-American, and the Fertitta brothers were Italian-Americans as well. So as a result of that, he decided, you know what, I'm going to back these guys, and yeah. So the 9090 says, how is it sabotaging if he's getting paid that much and no one is forcing him to sign a contract? Because of the matchups that he's being placed at, right? It's not ideal. You see, if you look at a lot of the Canelo fans online right now, they are not feeling the idea that he's going to go and fight Artur Betrbiev. It's a bad matchup. That's not what boxers usually do. After they lose like that, they go and have an easier matchup afterwards to sort of bring them back to kind of get a tune-up fight. When Prince Nassim Hamed lost to Barrera, what did he do? He went back to England, and in his very last matchup, his very last fight, he fought a Spanish journeyman and won by decision, right? That's what you do. That's historically what boxers do after they come from a very tough fight. So 9090 says, I'm assuming Canelo knew that the people he'd have to fight after signing the contract. No, he didn't. I don't think he knew. I think Turki El-Sheikh just says, well, we have a fight ahead of you. And I don't think Canelo is scared to fight anybody. I think he is willing to risk it for the biscuit. He's the best. He's one of the best guys in the world. So he's going to beat everybody else except for Artur Betrbiev, except for Dimitri Bivol, who, by the way, is equally as good as Artur Betrbiev, indicative of the fights that we've seen between them, and Floyd Mayweather and Crawford. Okay, he beats everybody else but those guys. Well, listen, guys, that is all that I have for this one. What I will do is I will make a video during the day about Canelo being set up by the Saudis, right? So we talked about the Roger Jackson case. We talked about the Canelo being set up by the Saudis. And by the way, let's not forget, this is also UFC Fight Week. Hate Love says, but why Garcia? I think it could damage his rep. Hate Love, when you says, why Garcia? I think you're talking about the Manny Pacquiao fight, right? Why? I mean, for the same reason. Manny Pacquiao and Canelo, the one thing you can't say about them is they're not cowards, right? 9090 says, I'm saying he probably had the idea of the people Turkey would want him to fight and the fights that fans would want to see. Yes, and Canelo thinks that he can beat all of them. Really, this is Canelo in a nutshell. He absolutely believes that he can beat all of them. So, as a result of that, this is the reason why he went onto that trajectory. All right, guys, listen. That is it for the stream. However, I will be doing a bonus stream, so stay tuned, okay? I'm going to leave you with a video that I had leading up to the Terrence Crawford fight, okay? And I think you guys are going to enjoy this. The Inscribable Octoman says, Free Palestine, yeah? Free Palestine, yeah. I'm assuming you're from the UK or Ireland because usually those guys say yeah at the end of everything. Hate Love says, Free Palestine. Hate Love says, we know Canelo can beat Garcia. No, it's not Garcia. It's Artur Betrbiev that he's fighting. Not even a question in my opinion. Yeah, no, it's not Garcia that he's fighting, my man. It's Artur Betrbiev, which makes it... He says, no, I'm American, LOL. Okay, well, shout out to you, my fellow American. Let me know what part of America you are from. All right, guys, I will leave you with this video for just a second while I get ready to go into the bonus stream. We're going to get into the bonus stream, but I'm going to show you, let's see here. Okay, so just right before Canelo and Crawford, right, I made a video featuring two of my homies, one from Sacramento, Oak Park, and one in London. All right, so shout out to all the homies in Oak Park, Sacramento. Shout out to all the homies in London. Shout out to all the homies in Stockton 209 8th Street. And shout out to our guests here today from 77th Inglewood Blood and all that. So, all right, here we go. back for the bonus stream. I will be on, but yes. Hate Love says, oh shit, had me confused for a long. Thanks for telling me, bro. Yes, yes. Octoman, thanks. Welcome to our family. It's a good vibe on this channel. Yes, yes. That is exactly what we try to do here, is emphasize good vibes in a world of a toxic MMA exchange, right? There's a lot of toxic content out there. We can get like that too. We can get on some real gangster-ish, but if we're going to get like that, we're going to have a good definitive reason behind it. But on any regard, here we go. Canelo versus Crawford, Sacramento to Oak Park, London, and also some really interesting stuff here just right before we go. All right, so here we go.
This Canelo's more cautious. Try to, he'll bait you in a little bit. But, I mean, that's all we're going to get from this Canelo.
Access the broadest range of college expertise all in one place. Visit KaplanCollegePrep.com.
Function with the East because of Shelly Rule, but we don't fuck with nobody.
Now, the Oak Park and South Sacramento has been beefing since like
I'll be right back for the bonus stream.
the 80s.
Oak Park and Sacramento been beefing since the 80s. We don't get along with nobody. It's Midtown. Shout out to Manners. Function with the East because of Shelly Rule, but we don't fuck with nobody in Sacramento. We been funking with every hood in Sacramento. Any nigga from Sacramento, no.
Sacramento to London. That is the title of this video leading up to the Canelo Crawford fight. Be right back for the bonus stream.
You know what I'm saying? Me and brother vouch for that.
And why is that?
I think it'll be the most notorious. Keeping 100, not even because it's my jurisdiction or my neighborhood, but it's like, I just think shit. That motherfucking notorious, like, for real. Like, every gang war that ever happened in Sacramento, Oak Park was involved. It's fake.
Does it work?
It should be fake.
Now, the Oak, I know boys who've been pack stabbed. When 4 dudes roll up with blades and jump you, man, you're dying, man. You're dying. It only takes one fucking wound. Oh, I know Krav Maga. You don't know shit. You ain't Steven Seagal. You are dying. It doesn't matter. You know the kickbox, box. Amir Khan got robbed for his watch. Fucking ex-world champion. They fucking ran up on him and took his watch off him 2 weeks ago. What did they do? They pulled a fucking sword. 4 of them. Jimmy, what the fuck are you gonna do? London's nuts now, man. And in
London's a shithole now or what?
Bro, shithole. Google, anyone here sitting here, Google London stabbing. Click on the news tab. I saw stab every day. And they stab first. They don't come up and say, give me the watch. They come up and stab you. And you're like, what the fuck? You start bleeding out. And then they kick off your corpse. They don't give a fuck, bro. It is crazy in London. London, I have a full security. I do not walk the streets in London. I do not wear a watch. I have a full security team. Everything. London's getting bad.
Jermaine, to get right back on. Hold on a second here. And then we got Zane joining us as well. Zane, my man. What's going on, man? All right, so okay, I'm gonna put this on 34 minutes. And
big news. Picasso has officially raised over $40 million from more than 10,000 investors across the country. We start.
There we go. All right. Just wanted to add that in there. Is Jermaine on? Jermaine, you there? My man's having a little bit of some trouble with the the internet connection. Hold on a second.
No worries, bro. What do you think of this fight tonight, bro? Usyk versus Dubois, bro. It's gonna be sick.
Well, there it is. Okay, perfect. We got my man on right now. All right, man. This is perfect, bro. I've been wanting, to get this together, for a long time because, Jermaine, is a real homie of mine, behind the scenes and in real life. Zane as well.
but you guys have never formally met. So Zane, meet Jermaine Taylor Jr., not to be mistaken by Jermaine Taylor, the former opponent of Carl Froch. But yeah, you know what I mean? This is my homie, my longtime homie. How do I say it? It's sort of like my my blood cousin. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man.
That's right.
What's happening, bro? You're good, yeah? How you doing, man?
Hey,
good, bro, man.
Hey, Jermaine, what do you think about my man's, $10,000 bet he won, with Hamza Shiraz and Berlanga? My man won 10K, bet, bro. You know what I mean? And I told him not to do it, bro, because I was like, this is a dangerous fight. Berlanga is no joke.
Yeah, Berlanga's no joke, no doubt about it, but, I mean, I didn't place a bet on that just because, I don't know, it could have went either way, which it did. So, I mean, man, it's boxing, right?
Right, man, right. And going into that fight, people, really underestimated Hamza Shiraz, man. Hey, and for those of you that don't know, Marty Miller says, "What's up, bruv?" In in the British English way of saying bruh or bro. You know what I mean? Shout out to Marty Miller on that one. So I guess that's in reference to you. Hey, bro, ever since that live stream that you and me did, people have been asking about you. You know what I mean? They're asking about you, or they either want to tell you that gambling is haram for a Muslim to partake in. Your thoughts on that, man?
Bro, what it is I watch boxing all day, every day, innit? So I know who's good and I know who's not that good, you get me? And with this fight, obviously no one really heard of Hamza Shiraz in America, but I knew all about him because I'm hooked up with him, I'm linked up with him, so I've got close connections with his father and that. I know that Hamza is a dedicated boxer. He don't drink, he don't smoke. I think Berlanga is all into all of that stuff, behind the scenes. It's just the way he carries himself, So yeah, I knew the upset was on the cards.
Your perfect wedding begins at Vistaprint, with gorgeous invites starting at under $1 and designs that match your theme, which we can also print on napkins, signs, and more for your big day. Take 50% off wedding stationery at Vistaprint.com with code WEDDING50.
So that's why I was confident in that bet, I wouldn't put that bet down if I wasn't confident,
And he don't hang out with weirdos like Fat Joe and all of that. You know what I mean? So that's a plus right there, bro.
Yo, Fat Joe got a curse, man. He got a curse with that lean back song, man.
No, for real. Yeah. For real, man. And he walked him out to that song too, bro.
Man, you can't walk out to no lean back, man.
For real, bro. And you know what? I don't know what Arabic song he sampled that song off of, but man, whoever made that song, bro, you better get at Fat Joe, bro. I know he sampled that off of some Arabic song. You know what I mean? Check this out, man. Remy Ma and Papoose were at the event, one side of the ring to the other. On this side of the ring side, and then the other side, they were looking directly at each other, when Islam and Connor sort of ran across each other in Saudi Arabia one time. You know what I mean? It was like that. So I was like, okay, this is awkward right here. You know what I mean? But they were on their best behavior because Remy Ma don't want none of Clarissa Shields. You know what?
Because I hate niggas. Hate them. Yeah, they talk tough, but they don't care. They not. Like you said, straight lips.
You know what I mean? And on top of that, Clarissa is, MMA trained. On top of that, she trains with John Jones. So if she gets her on the ground, it's going to be elbow strikes from there. And, yeah, man, Remy Ma would not have any response to that. And she killed her on a rap battle, too. Did you see that, that rap that Clarissa Shields did on Remy Ma? I was thinking, you know what? Papoose probably wrote this.
Ooh. Her man want to take me to dinner. I call her, what's her name? I don't even remember. Who? I know you nervous, baby. And now you feel about this. She's the perfect name. Bro,
Over here, yeah, but the yeah, but head. I'm red, bottom, yes, I love red. Hey, I'm so paid. I refuse to be broke when I reach your age. I don't turn down no face. I put my foot up in your asshole for both legs. I need some new haze. I don't see y'all. Where y'all at? I know you like to hate a bitch. What? Brain part, yeah, I ain't afraid of shit. Nothing. I never hesitate to take a risk. Never. 5 fingers, hold your hand, make a fist. 5 weeks, make a pay, make a miss. Ooh. Flat line, I ain't come to play with sticks. Never. Oh, no, I got it locked, they the kiss. Ooh. I guess he wanna make me wife me or something. Oh. Trying to lock me down, don't he like me or something. Okay. Now she on the ground, talking spicy for nothing. Your girlfriend mad, guess she wanna fight me or something. Talking spicy for nothing. This girlfriend mad, guess she wanna fight me or something. Clown. Some people say I'm the killer. You are. Jab to the mouth, then a shot to the liver. Ooh. Her man wanna take me to dinner. Of course. Tell me what's her name, I don't even remember. Who is that? I know you know. Hey. Brokey.
That's the first time she really dropped something like that, so.
Yeah. You know, she's not known to be a rapper, but I don't know, maybe she has some unhidden talents, you know, that we don't know about. You know what I mean? But all right, so I wanted to ask you both this, right? Because this is a fight that is coming up that I think is going to divide a lot of people. You know what I mean? Especially when you got a Mexican fighter and a prominent black fighter in Terrence Crawford. There's always going to be this controversy and, you know, a little bit of some beef going on, right? So I wanted to get your thoughts on Canelo and Crawford. Because if you don't know Jermaine, Zayn, for a British guy, he's the biggest British Canelo supporter I've ever seen. You know what I mean? And you know, Canelo beats up all the British guys. You know what I mean? We can name all the lists of British guys that he's beating up. But Zayn loves Canelo. But I think you sort of change your mind on this one, right, Zayn? Or do you still think?
Matthew. At the time of the fight, Canelo was only 20 years old, and it was his first world title fight for the WBC Light Middleweight Championship defense against another Brit and European super welterweight Ryan Rhodes. It would be Alvarez's first title defense in his hometown, Guadalajara, Mexico. With Rhodes, who learned his trade in moving up from the welterweight division at a catch weight of 155 pounds, which Canelo had fought at before. WBO title. Liam Smith was a more come-forward, tougher upcoming fighter for Canelo as they fought at the A&T Stadium in Texas in his first big stadium fight. Liam Smith had would challenge for fielding's WBA regular super middleweight title and also his first fight after defeating Gennady Golovkin. A move up in weight was surprising many, and we're not too sure what would have due to fielding being the much bigger man at 6'1". There would be a big size disparity with Smith standing at 6'3" and was definitely a big puncher, especially with his deadly left hook. The fight, in my opinion, never really flowed, with Callum Smith not letting his hands go too often. I was very impressed by Alvarez. Saunders' team clearly.
All right, guys, welcome to the bonus stream. Republicanism says Charlie was a good man. Hate Love says, Kyrie, ask our fellow brother Zayn to stop gambling, please. Well, I tell you what, unfortunately, it didn't go well for him in the Canelo Crawford fight. If you remember, didn't go too well for him on that one. Let me know, everybody can hear me, right? Just making sure that the audio is good right here. Obviously, this is the audio around the bonus stream, right? Bonus stream round that we are doing right now. So where we talk about anything and everything. It could go from 5 minutes to 50 minutes and everything in between. So lock in, because the first thing that we're going to talk about in this particular subject is Canelo. Yes, Canelo is the first subject that we're going to talk about. Yeah, we hear you, bro. Okay, good. All right. So why is Canelo going to be our subject matter at hand? By the way, talk about his deal with Turki, El-Kheer. Maybe I'll do a little bit of some research in between just to sort of get this going, just to kind of get some context into what is going on. But rest assured, everything that I sort of analyze with this is that there's a lot of exploitation going on right now for Canelo. And let me tell you why. So, wait, before I tell you why, let me read this. What is Zayn's full name? I believe his name is, his last name is Musa. So, yeah, family name Musa, first name Zayn from what I believe. So, yes. Okay, so Artur Betrbiev is who's up next for Canelo, right? Now, why is that significant for Turki El-Sheikh? Well, Turki El-Sheikh has a biasness towards black fighters, black American fighters, in particular because he believes that if a black American fighter was to be a champion, that it would somehow bring a lot of big names and a lot of big notoriety to the world of professional boxing. Okay, and he's speaking about this from a nostalgic point of view of when African Americans were absolutely dominating the boxing scene. And obviously, many of that is still going on today, especially with Terrence Crawford on top right now. I think arguably you could say that Terrence Crawford is a pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world, right next to Alexander Usyk. So it's Terrence Crawford and Alexander Usyk sitting right up there, right? So he wants to elevate Terrence Crawford as a result of that. He also wants to elevate Muslim fighters, because by the end of the day, let's be honest, Turki El-Sheikh is going to have his own biasness for the same reason that Dana White said the following. He said, when it comes to fighting, we all understand it. It's in our DNA and we get it. Meaning that also we look up to badasses that look like us. Well, in comes Artur Betrbiev. He lost to Bivol. He also has a win over Bivol, but Bivol also has a win over Canelo Alvarez. So why on earth would he give Canelo Artur Betrbiev next when Canelo was just coming off of a fight against Terrence Crawford and lost? Well, there's only one speculation I have of that, and that is to absolutely ruin and tear up the career of Canelo. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to tear up his career because he wants to show him, hey, you know what? I'm the boss around here, not you. You're not the boss around here. I am. I'm the one that dictates whether your career is going to go anywhere or not. Now, Khalid says hi. Okay, so sorry, I lost a little bit of internet connection right there because I had to take this live stream on the road. I'm driving right now, for those of you that can't hear. But okay, what I was saying was that, oh, Khalid, salam, brother. How are you, man? How are you? Salam alaikum to you, brother. So, okay, what I was saying before it got disconnected. So, okay, what I was saying before it got disconnected